Can you put some numbers to the impact of the automation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's happened over the years is that cycle times have become longer and longer. The original intent of the purchase card was to be able to act quickly and obtain goods and services that were under the micro purchase threshold. What we found out now is that actually the approval processes and the funding checks that need to take place, some agencies and operations are even requesting that approvals are only done on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know, we've gotten to that point where it's really slowed down the process. The other thing that really automation brings is removal of the burdens associated with P-card. P-card has become almost a second job to people's main career that they've signed up for. You take a P-card and all of a sudden now you have 20 or 30 hours a month that you're adding to your life simply because you have a P-card and you're responsible for maintaining all the records and documentation required under the guidelines. What we're doing here with automation is making it simple and returning the original purpose of the government purchase card to the end users, removing the fear, uncertainty, and doubt around compliance with policy and law, avoiding the duplicate data entry, and simplifying the reconciliation and audit process. The biggest impact from a financial standpoint and from a numbers standpoint is that over the last 15 years or so, we've had a continuing resolution for the most part. And we've gotten to a fairly consistent pattern of over 40% of the transactions in the federal government are occurring in the last 75 days of the fiscal year. Between June and August 15th, when typical card programs end the majority of their purchases, we're doing over 40% of the purchases. What's happened is those banker boxes that have been loaded with paper, it's impossible to audit 40% of the transactions that occur in the last 75 days during section audits in the last quarter of the year. It's become virtually impossible. With automation, you can actually audit an entire cadre of cards in an agency literally in minutes instead of months. So automations are creating a tremendous advantage for agencies that embrace automation. And lastly, the costs. We have found that some government reports have said now that the full life cycle cost of a P-card transaction, a single P-card transaction, which typically is under $850, costs over $24 of life cycle cost, including the records management, destruction of the records over the storage of the records and so forth, audit through the banker's box, the additional copies that are required for maintenance of files and records. For a minimum of 6 years. Some agencies are storing for 10 years. A single transaction costing $24 is not the original intent of P-card. It was supposed to be cheap, fast, and convenient, right? So now you can literally do hundreds of transactions for less than $50 a month with automation.
So, in the beginning, the program started to save contracting officers time for those small purchases. So we may have eliminated their role in the purchasing side, but we've quadrupled the role at the end of the cycle.
That's right. The cardholders now have all the burdens, right? And the administrative officers who have to review all the packets. So it's not eliminated the burden. It's just shifted the burden from contracting officers to other employees. So automation certainly is the answer.